Good morning. I'm Glenn Damian, Assistant Technologist with the Northeast Regional Education Cooperative, that is REC4, based in Las Vegas, New Mexico. REC serves 6 school districts in the northeastern corner of the state, including West Las Vegas City Schools, Santa Rosa, Mora, Pecos, and Wagon Mound. So we're in partnership with the New Mexico Technology Assistance Program. We have an assistive technology loan bank that's located in our offices here on the NMHU's campus, New Mexico Highlands University. And we loan equipment and provide support and technical assistance and assistive technology to our schools and other schools outside of our REC also. And also to our local communities. We also do some services outside of the schools as part of the Technology Assistance Loan Bank. The NMTAP program's main office is in Albuquerque, and they loan equipment statewide. So if you find you have needs for assistive technology equipment, support, training, anything related to assistive technology, it'll be good to contact them. Main office is in Albuquerque. They also have a branch in Silver City, located on the Western New Mexico University campus. Okay, I'll bounce to my PowerPoint now. Okay, so my presentation today is on low-tech digital solutions for cognition, communication, and learning. And I call this a handbook of basic accommodations because you can actually print this PowerPoint and have it as an easy reference guide if you're trying to set up your devices that we'll talk about today. I think it's very useful because we'll be talking about the most commonly used devices that you'll find as a teacher or ancillary specialist in the schools. And hopefully this will be useful information for you. My background is I've been a licensed vocational rehabilitation counselor for pretty much my entire working career. I do some other management things now at the REC, but I still do assistive technology. I still do career preparation and career counseling as well. And I've worked in several settings, but I've been with the schools now for over 20 years. There we go. So accommodations. IDEA states that students with special needs have the right to receive necessary curriculum adaptation as specified in the IEP. And a lot of these will be familiar to you as teachers and ancillary specialists. Additional time turning in assignments, additional time taking tests, having questions read to the student when testing, and also assistive technology. Assistive technology is a recognized accommodation under IDEA, and on your IEP forms, you're going to see the box where you actually have to state that assistive technology was considered as an accommodation. And that's one of the things that I do with our schools is basically if I get a referral, I'll do an evaluation for a student to determine the need for assistive technology to see if AT can actually help the student. So assistive technology includes listening to text and audio, writing by speaking, sound amplification for hearing impairment, and also modified materials and displays for visual impairment. So common uses of assistive technology include text-to-speech. You'll see it, acronym TTS. That's reading by listening, listening to the text and audio. Speech-to-text, which is writing by speaking. Word prediction, help with spelling. Audio video recording used in note-taking for students who have difficulty taking notes by hand and following along at a good pace. Speech interface, which is speaking by icon selection or typing. This is a little less commonly used, but still something that comes up quite often in schools for students with limited speech ability. Universal design for learning. I think all of you are teachers, recognize this acronym UDL. And universal design for learning, basically as it applies to a school setting, is that multi-sensory teaching strategies benefit all students. It comes from that idea. And basically that means that rather than just relying on one input as you do in reading, which is your visual, if you use your vision and also you listen to the text, you're going to learn more, you're going to pick up more. So assistive technology is a practical application of UDL, and especially now with focus on less time and resource settings, your students with disabilities can really benefit from multisensory teaching strategies. But the interesting thing is that all students benefit from that. All of us learn and comprehend more if we can use more than one sensory input. The ideal is that you read, you use your vision, listen, you hear, and then if you do, that's actually another level of learning also. So all those combined really is the best of all possible worlds. So devices. Today we're going to be talking about the most basic and most useful accommodations and the most commonly used devices in the schools. We're going to be talking about PCs with Windows 10, which is now basically pretty much everybody's using Windows 10 at this point. We haven't migrated to 11 yet, and 7 is pretty much phased out. Chromebook. All students are familiar now with Chromebook during the COVID situation. The primary learning platform was Chromebook. And most students still have a Chromebook today or have access to one and still use one at some point. And teachers also are familiar generally with Chromebooks. Also the iPhone, iPad, and the Android phone and tablet. We'll be talking about all of those devices today and ways to set them up for accessibility. So a few things on PCs, and specifically with speech to text, writing by speaking. PCs with Windows 7 and 8, the speech to text was not accurate and really not useful. It was needed to be used with any effectiveness at all with a microphone, either a headset or a desktop microphone, and still it wasn't accurate. It wasn't accurate enough to rely on. The PCs with Windows 10 are very accurate and user-friendly for speech to text. They are actually as effective as Dragon Naturally Speaking, and some of you are familiar with that program, which was really the state-of-the-art speech-to-text program for many years. So the PCs with Windows 10, it's just as accurate, naturally speaking. So speech to text with Windows 10, this is a way to use it. Generally, you're going to be using that with a Word document. So you'll open a Word document. You'll go to Home, which is on the toolbar up on the top of your screen. You'll click on the microphone and click on microphone icon to begin dictation. And once you click on the microphone on your top toolbar, this little box appears. This means you're ready to write by speaking. So you're going to click on this icon, and then you can write by speaking. And this is really an effective thing for students because one of the biggest barriers students have is not being able to get their thoughts out on paper. And a lot of the problem there is with spelling. If you can't spell a word, it stops you. If you can't think of the word you want to use, it stops you. If you're actually able to formulate what you want to say in your mind and then you speak it, well, that actually allows you to really move ahead. You can fill up an entire piece of paper or your entire screen with basically your thoughts. So the point is if you get used to doing this, you can draft your paper writing by speaking. Your program punctuates for you. So in other words, at the end of your sentence, you can say period. It'll insert the period. You can say comma. Okay, the comma will be there. You can say new paragraph. So once you practice with this, you can actually draft your paper by writing by speaking. This can be really powerful for students who have never been able to write fluently because so many have a lot to say. The thoughts are there, but they just can't get it out on paper. So speech to text is a really powerful tool for learning, and it opens a door for students that actually didn't have the interface to write. So really powerful application, and it's one of the most basic and one of the most useful accessibility accommodations. So PCs with Windows 10, in addition to speech to text, also you have visual accommodations. And for visual accommodations, you'll want to go to your settings. Okay, just go to your settings on your PC. You'll click on ease of access. And these are the three things we'll talk about: zoom, magnifier, and high contrast. All these are for students with visual impairments. So the first thing we'll talk about is the zoom feature. And this is, if you're on any Microsoft Office application, you're going to see this little bar at the bottom of your right-hand bottom of your screen. And that's your zoom bar. And actually, I'm in the mode where I can't see the toolbar because I'm in a slideshow. But basically, what you're going to do is you're going to drag this bar, and it's going to increase the size of the text on your screen. This is the most simple application to use. It's available on any application in Microsoft Office, and it's a really powerful accommodation for visual impairment. Just increases the size of your font, your entire screen. Okay, under your accessibility or ease of access, also you're going to see magnifier. So once you select magnifier, you're going to want to turn that on. Once you turn it on, you can change the zoom level. You can make it even bigger, up to 300. Maybe you only need a little bit of magnification. But the magnifier, the way that's different than the zoom feature is that it moves with your cursor across the screen, and whatever you hold the little magnifying glass over gets larger. And once you turn on your magnifier, you actually have to manually activate it too. So you would want to press the Windows logo key, which is on the bottom left hand of your keyboard, and at the same time press the plus sign, which is on the upper right part of your keyboard. So you press those together, that turns on the magnifier, and you can move this bar around, and you can basically hover over any piece of the text that you want to see that's larger. When you don't need that anymore, you do the Windows logo key plus escape to turn off the magnifier. But once this button's on, that's available anytime, and your student with visual impairment can basically activate that anytime they want to. Okay, under your ease of access, once again, see here, you were a magnifier before, but you can click on high contrast. This is the other very effective accommodation for visual impairment. And high contrast, one thing it does is it sharpens the edges around your text. In other words, it makes a very clear definition between the background and the text itself. So it makes it sharper, which helps people with visual impairment. The other thing it does is it allows you to reverse the colors of the text in the background. People with visual impairments generally will see better if the background is black and the text is either white or yellow. Okay, so this is actually a very easy thing to do to modify it for visual accommodation, and very, very powerful and very useful. So basically, you'll want to turn on your high contrast button, and you'll see that under this high contrast tab. So now we'll talk about Chromebooks. And Chromebooks are actually very accessible devices. It's just one of the most accessible devices, very easy to use. The good thing about Chromebooks is the layout is always the same. It doesn't matter the brand of your Chromebook. All the essential features are in the same place, okay? Which is really important. So on your Chromebook, once you boot up your Chromebook, you're going to see on the lower left-hand corner of your screen the button that says Launcher. If you hover over it, it says Launcher. You're going to click on that. Then you're going to go to Settings. If you don't immediately see your Settings button, you might have to actually put it in your little search window, and Settings will pop up. Okay, under Settings, you're going to go to Advanced. Then you're going to go to Accessibility. And then you're going to go to Manage Accessibility Features. Okay, these are the three most important things you can do with your Chromebook. You're going to enable select to speak. You're going to enable dictation, and you're going to enable highlight text. Okay, you're going to turn these buttons on. And this is what your screen is going to look like. See, here you are under accessibility. So you're going to want to turn this button on, enable select to speak. Okay, you're going to want to basically enable dictation. So enable select to speak. That's your text to speech. In other words, you can read by listening if you enable select to speak. Enable dictation, you can write by speaking then. Okay. And once again, these are very easy to use. Once you turn these buttons on, Chromebook is fully accommodated. And the Chromebook is better than the PC in this way because the PC really doesn't have a feature that will enable you to convert your text to speech. You won't be able to read by listening using your PC, but your Chromebook, you can do that. Okay. Also, there's a button on your screen here that would fit the picture, and it's highlight text. That's also useful too, because if it's reading to you, it will highlight the text as it reads. So that's useful to your students to follow along visually also. And once you've activated those features on your Chromebook, you're going to look at the lower right-hand corner of your screen on your Chromebook, and there's your microphone. So if you want to write by speaking, you click on your microphone and you just talking. And it's just as accurate as a feature on the PC. Very easy to use. And once again, this is one of the most powerful accommodations you can offer to your students that have problems writing. Because once you actually discover that you can actually write, don't have to worry about spelling, don't have to worry about punctuation that much. You can always go back and edit those later. You can get help in editing, but you want to get your thoughts out on basically paper on your screen in this case. Okay, now this icon here is what's going to allow you to actually highlight the text and have it read to you. So if you click on this button, this little gray circle is going to appear around here, which means it's active. Okay. And then if you start up here and you drag this purple box around your text, whatever you want read, and let it go, basically it's going to read whatever you've selected. Okay. So that works on the internet. It works on any document that you want to read. Okay, so all you do is circle it, let it loose, and it's going to read it to you. So Chromebook, very, very powerful accessibility features on the Chromebook, very useful. And I probably set up at least 1,000 of these during the COVID crisis because your IT people don't automatically set this up. So they basically, it's just a standard feature. So these all have to be activated for your students to use. And it's actually very easy to do. Once you know how to do it, you can have your whole class activate these features. It's very useful. Okay, now we'll talk about the Apple iPhone and the Apple iPad, which are basically the same device you all know. And we'll talk specifically first about speech to text and text to speech. Apple devices are really the state of the art for assistive technologists. There's so much of the accessibility features are built in. You don't need applications. You don't need to purchase an application, get an application that's not on your device. It's already there. So this is how to set up your iPhone and iPad for your basic accessibility. You're going to go to settings. You're going to go to accessibility. The first thing you want to select is spoken content. Okay, you want to enable speak selection, enable highlight content, and adjust the speaking rate. That's all in the same box. You can do that once you select spoken content. You can do these three things right away. And that's your basic accessibility features on your Apple device. Yes, you're going to be able to write by speaking. You're going to be able to read by listening. And of course, those are your two most powerful accessibility features. You can then go to general, and you can also activate spell check. You can activate word prediction. And you can activate auto punctuation if you want to. So your Apple iPhone and your iPad also have very powerful visual accommodations, and they're every bit as good, if not better than your PC. Okay? Once again, you'll go to settings, you go to accessibility, and now you'll select display and text size. So you can bold the text so that any text that appears on the screen is going to be bold-faced. You can increase the font size to make it easier to read. And your students with visual impairments, pretty much you'll want to leave these on because it's going to really help them. Increase the contrast just the same way you did with the PC. You can also invert your colors. The text in the background, you can flip those around. You also have the ability to select color filters. And the most useful color filter that I find that I use occasionally is a blue light filter. And the blue light filter is really specifically for people that experience migraine headaches. The blue light filter really helps filter the wavelength of light that has been found to exacerbate migraines. But there are other color filters also, and often people with dyslexia can actually improve their reading comprehension by selecting a filter that actually improves the ability to focus on the text. Android phone and tablet. Android phones and tablets all have accessibility features. The problem is with Android devices that they don't look the same. In other words, it's tough to find accessibility on your Android. It may not be labeled accessibility. You may have to click around before you actually find where that feature is. So settings, accessibility is under various names. Speech to text. The other thing about an Android is that most of the things we're talking about require apps. Your device isn't set up to do it just on its own. It's not built in. So a lot of these things are free, and speech to text requires an app available on the Google Play Store One of the ones that I often use is InkPad, which is a free application. It does the same thing as your Notes app that's built into your iPhone, iPad. It has a Notes app, but you have to actually put that on your Android device. InkPad is one. There are lots of them, and there are lots of them that are free. It's nothing that you need to pay for. And once you tell your student how to do this, they all know how to use the Google Play Store. I can guarantee you that. So text-to-speech requires an app on the Google Play Store also. And these are two of the most common ones we use because they're both free. Speechify is one. Okay? It allows you to select text and have it read it back to you. And you'll notice with Speechify, you have an enhanced version and a free version. The enhanced version is not needed. That you'd have to pay for that, and it's actually really expensive. I think the only time you might need that is if you were, say, studying to get your medical degree and you need medical terminology and a lot of different things. That might be useful to you. But get the free version, Speechify. It'll allow you to select text and have it read to you. Microsoft Lens is also free. It's got a few additional features. You can take a picture of text. You can edit it if necessary, and you can play it back, which is actually useful also. So these things will actually allow you to use your Android device. Androids are not as accessible as either of the previous two that we talked about. But since so many of your students actually have Androids, it's good to know how to set up the basic accessibility features on Android. So I'd really encourage you to print this PowerPoint and use it as a desktop guide to setting up your accessibility features. It's really useful in class because you can have your students take out their device and have them set up the accessibility features in their class. It allows them all to have learning tools that they normally wouldn't have. So you can do this with your Chromebooks. If all your students are using Chromebooks, you can go through the accessibility features. And I've taught a lot of teachers how to do this so that they can do this in their class so that everybody is able to use the accessibility features. This is really powerful too, because if you've only got one or two students in class that are using this, they feel uncomfortable using it. They don't want to stand out. If everybody has this available, students can coach each other on how to use it. So the more students that are using this, your students with some level of disability and students without any formal disability, the better it's going to be. So the more students you can teach how to use this, the more you can do this in a general classroom setting, the more effective it'll be. So once again, I'm Glenn Damian. I really enjoy presenting these things and to kind of spread the word on how to use these accessibility features. And please call or contact me if I can help you in any way with accessibility, assistive technology, and accommodations. Thanks.